And before we talk about OPEC cutting production by like fucking 1 million barrels, before we do all of that shit, and we're going to talk about the White House response to it as well, it's always good to see burned bridges recover. A lot of people say, oh, Hasan, no, it's going to be 2 million potentially. I thought it was 1 million, and then they said that they were going to cut it up to 2 million. Yeah, they're saving the planet. Let me just mention something here. You know, you want to see bridges recover. You want to see nature heal. You want to see old foes become friends. Some people are like, oh, Hasan, did you make up with XQC? That is irrelevant in the grand scheme of conversations that we're having here. Okay, we're having high-level conversations. And that is Joseph Brandon Biden, okay, Joseph Robinette Biden, linking up with Ron DeSantis over Hurricane Ian. It has now taken 100 lives in Florida, has destroyed a lot of the some of the islands that it hit, and Brandon's out there bridging that fucking gap.
President Biden will survey the damage from Hurricane Ian, meeting with people affected by the storm and coming face-to-face with Governor Ron DeSantis, a fierce critic of the Biden administration.
I think he's going to maybe tour the air. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but I know I'm going to have a briefing with him.
There will be plenty of time to discuss differences between the president and the governor, but now is not the time.
I got to pee. I'll be back.
It comes amid new questions about Florida's preparations for Ian. In Lee County, which includes the hardest hit areas of Fort Myers, emergency officials issued mandatory evacuations the day before landfall. While Ian's track did shift as it closed in on the coast, the National Hurricane Center 3 days before landfall had warned of a potential storm surge of up to 7 feet for that area. And according to the local emergency management plan, a storm surge forecast of that amount should have triggered evacuations. Governor DeSantis says there will be a review of the response. Meanwhile, search and rescue operations are still underway across Southwest Florida. Some people are desperate for basic supplies like food and water, and entire communities remain unlivable.
This area in Fort Myers Beach is home to the largest commercial shrimping fleet in the Gulf of Mexico. In this community, they rely on these boats to make a living. But now this boatyard looks more like a scrapyard, and they're out of work.
More stories of survival are emerging. Johnny Lauder swam for 4 blocks to reach his 84-year-old mother's home in Naples.
A couple times, old man Johnny was whispering in my ear, like, you might not make it. And I'm like, we'll make it. Shut up.
Lauder finally making it to his mom's house.
When I heard her screaming, it was a sigh of relief and panic.
In this picture, Lauder's mother shivering but smiling when she sees her son.
Do you owe your mom a Mother's Day gift? Does this cover about a year or two?
I don't know. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I would do it for your mother, anybody's mother.
Meanwhile, crews have evacuated 1,000 people from hard-hit Sanibel Island. Residents there are allowed to temporarily return today.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here.
Brandon making up with Ron DeSantis. Took a pic of his mom in a drowning house. What's wrong with America? Brother, oftentimes I like to shit on America, okay? But even I will not pin the actions of the average Florida male on the actions of every American citizen. That is inappropriate. He was recording, it wasn't a pig. Okay? Documentation is important. I have a photo of myself in my flooded house. Don't be in the rookie hole here and act like everyone in America is like everyone in Florida, okay? Florida is a definite, unique place, okay? I think at this point, we understand that. A lot of people recognize that. It's a flawed place. It's a beautiful place. And saying that, like, Florida, the average Floridian citizen is similar to the average American citizen, well, that's a little fucked up. Anyway. So I wish him well. Let's get to Ukraine. Now, two things are very interesting here. The New York Times released an article where the United States believes the Ukrainians were behind an assassination in Russia. This is a sussy little baka thing to fucking put out there. Now, of course, obviously, like, it's not surprising, right? But I don't know why they would, I don't know why the American State Department would ever allow this information to be out there. Anytime the New York Times writes something that the State Department is giving them, that's deliberate. They want you to know. They want you to hear it. It's not usually a leak. American officials said they were not aware of the plan ahead of time for the attack that killed Daria Dugina, and that they had admonished Ukraine over it. Maybe Ukraine wants Russia to know. Man, Ukraine is not an actor in this. Please stop. Everything that Ukraine does, it does at the behest of the U.S., okay? Like, they have legitimate reasons and legitimate interest in emancipation, and that's it. I am not of the mindset that, like, Ukrainians took matters into their own hands and that the American government straight up was like, nah, you shouldn't do this. And then they did it anyway. Like, that's surprising to me. Come on, man. The Ukrainians have agency. They're literally fighting to defend their homeland. What the fuck do you mean? No, I agree. That's what I said. That is the extent of it, though. And the only way that they're capable of doing that is with, and I think everyone recognizes and understands and appreciates this, but is NATO weapons. I didn't say they don't have agency. Not only did I not say that, but I also said they have a legitimate and earnest interest in emancipation. Some of you may not understand that word, emancipation, freedom, okay? They want freedom. They yearn for it, and that's understandable, okay? That is the number one thing here that they have. But beyond that, it's a little sussy that they even came out and shit on Ukraine this way. I mean, this is their partner. I am surprised. What do you think of the claim that it's largely NATO forces fighting and What do you think of the claim that it's largely NATO forces fighting and operating NATO weapons on behalf of Ukraine? No, I don't. I think it's Ukrainians that are trained by NATO and trained by the CIA. But it's still Ukrainians that are fighting. It is surprising, though, that the United States is being a fucking fake friend. I'll say it. I think the United States is being a fucking fake friend to Ukraine here. Just calling them out. The timing of it is rather suspicious. Right as the OPEC Plus conversations are happening. Perhaps one of the reasons why they're doing that is because they want to head there with like... They want to make sure that those conversations in Vienna are happening with a more positive light so that they're not dagger-dicking the American economy. But it's sussy, okay? It's sussy as fuck that this is the info that that they're, covering. What sussy is the OPEC plus talks are happening after the pipeline was blown up too? I mean, yeah, that's not sussy. That's deliberate, I think. United States intelligence agencies believe that parts of the Ukrainian government authorized the car bomb attack near Moscow in August that killed Daria Dugina, the daughter of a prominent Russian nationalist, an element of a covert campaign that the U.S. officials fear could widen the conflict. The United States took no part in the attack, either by providing intelligence or other assistance, officials said. American officials also said that they were not aware of the operation ahead of time and would have opposed the killing had they been consulted. Afterwards, American officials admonished Ukrainian officials over the assassination. They said, the closely held assessment of Ukrainian complicity, which has not been previously reported, was shared within the U.S. government last week. Ukraine denied involvement in the killing immediately after the attack. I wonder why they did that. And senior officials repeated those denials when asked about the American intelligence assessment. OPEC is just pissed about the G7 Russian oil price cap via their own buyers cartel. Don't do that, but do some more of that. I mean, I thought Saudi Arabia was like pissed off about America using its strategic reserves to at least have some relative control over the oil barrel pricing. So they want to fucking decrease supply again and stress the United States and Western nations in general, while also helping their trade partners inside of their cartel, i.e. Russia, whose main whose main production that is funding its war coffers is energy. Okay? That professor is really wild, not really a reliable source. Did you just say Jeffrey Sachs is not a reliable source on matters involving Russia? Bro, who's reliable then? Vladimir Putin himself? It's like he's literally fucking he is the guy. What? He's one of the guys. Okay? Like, he has his hands. He has let's say he has personal involvement in the matter. In the West, he is one of the guys. Like, you look at Russia and you look at how fucked up Russia is, he's one of the dudes. Okay? Anyway. But going back to this, there's one other thing that I was going to... He's making an accusation with little to no evidence. Wait, what? No, dude, no. What do you mean he's making an accusation with little to no evidence? He's saying, on mainstream media, what a lot of people reasonably suspect, which is that there are parties that have more to gain than Russia in this bombing of the fucking Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 pipelines, and you're losing your fucking mind over it. What he's saying is not that unique of a take. The only problem is you have no evidence either, but you have convictions that it was definitely not America and it was definitely Russia, because there is a slant within the media that claims that it definitely was Russia, and that's it. They have no evidence either. So when there is no evidence whatsoever, why did you decide? When there's no evidence whatsoever, why did you decide that it was one side and not the other?
Destruction of the Nord Stream pipeline, which I would bet was a U.S. action, perhaps U.S. and Poland. This is
right, Jeff, we got to stop there. That's quite a statement as well. Why do you feel that was a U.S. action? What evidence do you have of that?
Bro, what is bro wearing? What is he wearing right now? I'm sorry. What? Dude, business channels are so crazy. They just straight up will be like, yeah, no, I want to look like a cartoon villain. Motherfucker looks like Penguin. He's trying to find who Batman is. Why are you trying to look like the Monopoly Man? What the fuck is this, bro? What is happening right now? He's like, you have no evidence that Bruce Wayne is Batman, but I will investigate. That's crazy.
Well, first of all, there's direct radar evidence that U.S. Helicopters, military helicopters that are normally based in Gdansk, were circling over this area. We also had the threats from the United States earlier in this year that one way or another, we are going to end Nord Stream. We also have a remarkable statement by Secretary Blinken.
It's like stress testing manufacturing consent. Like, they're like, how far can we get away with it? Like, let's say, how far can we go with this? Which I think is pretty funny. It's like, they're like, let's openly state that we have a genuine interest in stopping these pipelines. Let's say that we will stop them by any means necessary. Let's say that, like, and then when it happens, when it ultimately does happen, let's see if we can fucking blame Russia. And by the way, for the record, Russia is fucking crazy. Vladimir Putin is crazy. Okay? So maybe it is. Maybe it is him. Maybe he did it. I'm not ruling that out. And I want you guys to understand, I'm not ruling that out personally, okay? But it seems fucking nuts, okay? And with the absence of evidence at this very moment, I'm just looking at who has more to gain.
Blinken last Friday in a press conference, he says, this is also a tremendous opportunity. It's a strange way to, it's a strange way to talk.
People say Russia has more to gain without, and I've yet to hear one fucking clear reason. Okay? And if you motherfuckers are going up and being like, Jeffrey Sachs has bad takes, sure, man, he does. I know. I know. Okay? I don't care, because he's not talking about the other shit right now. He's talking about directly what Colombia pays him to talk about, directly what he has had personal experience with. He's talking about Russia, okay? So stop. Stop doing the thing that you love doing all the fucking time immediately. And this is 100%, 1,000% something that neoliberals love doing regularly. They're like, well, look at all these bad takes that he had. Okay, yeah, he had bad takes. He had wrong takes. He's just outright wrong on some shit, okay? But this is his very specific, very narrow field of expertise, okay? I'm sick and tired of motherfuckers who love going to Reddit to be like, ooh, let's see some opposition research over here about Jeffrey Sachs. Ooh, like immediately being like, these are all of his bad takes. Yeah, I know. You can try to elevate how bad it is, okay? You'd be like, he denies the Uyghur genocide. He fucking believes in the lab leak conspiracies. Sure, fine. Okay, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Your assessment is correct on that. But that's not what we're talking about right now. Okay? I don't know why the fuck you immediately have to do this. For everyone that is not a part of the fucking foreign policy apparatus that is feeding you the exact same takes that you hear, okay? Like John Bolton will come out and be like, yeah, I think it was Russia that did this to himself. And you guys are like, see, John Bolton said it. Like you never do this. Do you ever realize that you do this all the time? You do this thing that you do all the time. You do it for Noam Chomsky. You do it for Jeffrey Sachs. You do it for Mersheimer. Anyone and everyone that has a different perspective than what the common consensus is in liberal mainstream media about American State Department revelations, somehow all of those guys have bad fucking takes, and those are the only thing we should be focusing on and not what they're saying right now. Okay? No one is perfect. Everyone has bad fucking takes. Do you not find that to be a little strange that you always do this? Like you're a little mouthpiece for the fucking media yourself? Like, what are you, working for the State Department? Yes, because when you have become a crazy guy shouting conspiracies, I'm going to pause on believing his latest theory. It's not a take, it's a wild conspiracy. I'm sorry, I just don't agree with you. I still maintain that Russia might have done this to itself, okay? I agree. Russia might have done this to itself. They're fucking crazy, okay? But it's wild that you're like, no, that's a conspiracy. Fuck you. That's crazy to me. That is fucking nuts. In the absence of like actual fucking solid detail, solid intel, you're just running on with what CNN is saying. And that fucking blows my mind, especially in a circumstance where America literally could have, I feel like Brandon could have came out and been like, we're going to blow that shit up, Jack, a week before it blew up. And then you'd be like, nah, Russia did it. Like, you can't on the one side repeat what you're hearing from MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, and American media in general, which is also a conspiracy technically, okay? And one, in my opinion, that doesn't have as much credibility because there is no like, there's at least information on the one side being like, no, we are going to stop these pipelines by any means necessary, okay? And one side has the most to gain out of this. And when I say U.S., remember, I'm not just talking about the United States of America. I'm talking about all the NATO forces. It could be the UK, okay? There are plenty of actors involved, but they are all still under the broad umbrella. If this is a proxy war between the United States and Russia, that's the umbrella I'm talking about. Capitalist forces of Western neoliberal hegemony, okay?
If you're worried about the piracy on international infrastructure of vital significance. So I know this runs counter to our narrative. It runs, you're not allowed to say these things in the West. But the fact of the matter is, all over the world, when I talk to people, they think...
Like, his follow-up on this is kind of weak, too. He's like, oh, I talked to people and they think Russia did it, or they think America did it, too, secretly. Like, that's not a really good way to cover this. Just talk about who has the most to gain, like he did, and talk about like what America has said thus far leading up to this event, which he did. But there's no fucking reason to just like also turn around and be like, well, you know, my friends also believe this. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yes, it is. And just to tell you, and by the way, even reporters on our papers that are involved tell me privately, yeah, well, of course, but it doesn't show up in our...
It is bananas to me, though, that like we just immediately run with the it's definitely Russia, and everything else, it's definitely Russia, and anyone else that says anything else, okay, is 1,000,000% spreading conspiracy theories on behalf of the Russian government. Like, I'm sorry, that's fucking bananas, bro. And it is wild that like no one wants to be skeptical over the mainstream narrative. You're just like so comfy in this. The funniest part is if the United States came out tomorrow and said we did it, all the people who said, oh, it was Russia would probably turn around and be like, yeah, it was good that they did it actually. Like there was literally a fucking dude who was like already saying, thank you, United States, for doing this. This was wonderful. Like the day of. That is to say, over the past week, 14 episodes in our data set shared content about the explosions that was conspiratorial in nature. Of seven wholly endorsed the idea that the United States is most likely the culprit. Only 4 episodes sought to refute that claim. Wait, what? Brookings Institute. They say it's conspiratorial to bring, unless there's a lone dolphin theory, some type of conspiracy blew up the pipeline. That is not in question. The question is who done it. I don't understand. The theory that Russia did it is literally a false flag conspiracy theory, and it might be true. What is fucking blowing my mind is that the United States doing it is completely a conspiracy theory. No shot that happened. Russia doing it, on the other hand, not a conspiracy theory, probably the real reason. That blows my mind. That smells really fucking weird, okay? Come the fuck on, man. Even when we fucking don't know. Even when we don't know. I'm not saying I'm ruling out that it wasn't Russia. But in the absence of conclusive evidence, what we can only look at is who has the most to gain and also what either party has said. Just like on the pro-Russia or on the, like, this is Russian involvement in Russia's doing docket, you have this information, right? You have the information that, well, Russia was already lowering the amount of gas that they were sending through the Nord Stream pipelines, right? 2 wasn't working. 1 was already, 1 was also like lowering the amount that people were using. Now, part of the reason why they were lowering the amount, on the other hand, was because, America was increasing stress and pressure on European partners to not use those pipelines. Okay? So you have that docket. You have that bullet point on the maybe Russia did it side. On the maybe America did it side, you have America's regular statements about Nord Stream 1 and 2 being a geopolitical disaster for them and for Europe maintaining its partnership with Russia. You have a pipeline that has the capability of sending gas that is not currently being used, but could very well be used in a colder winter in an effort to ease the stress that European countries are not going to be able to take on when they're being hit by inflation and energy prices are becoming a crisis. Okay? Russia also benefits by making gas prices skyrocket in the immediate aftermath of bombing and sending a threat that Europe will freeze. No, Russia has been saying that. They've been saying that because that's their singular, like, that's the thing. That's what they have. That's the only thing they have. That is what is Europe can't take care of themselves, understood? Well, yeah, they can. What are they going to do? Materialize natural gas? What do you want? Yeah, they can't. But Russia's saying, we're going to cut off your fucking gas, okay, is a threat only because they want, that's leverage. When they have a delivery mechanism, that's just fucking leverage for them. They want to make demands and have European partners meet said demands. If their delivery mechanism is blown up, then it's no longer a threat. Now they have no say in the matter. Now, there's obviously still other ways of delivering it, but it doesn't matter. This is their shit. Why would they fucking blow up their own leverage? Now, when I say that, people turn around and say, well, that's because Putin is crazy. You're right. He is crazy. He invaded Ukraine. He got his shit pushed in especially the Western Front. Okay? But he was crazy is not the best argument in this circumstance. Even if it's valid, it's not necessarily the best argument in the circumstance when there's additional evidence you can rely on. That's what you jump to. That's what you jump to when you have nothing else. Okay? It shows capability to strike other pipes. Brother, that's fucking bananas. Yeah, that's on the US did it column. Now, one thing that I have heard, and I don't know if this is actually the case or not, but one thing that I have heard is that Nord Stream 2 is actually repairable. And I said this the first day when we were getting new information, okay? If Nord Stream 2 is repairable, then that is a major, major fucking point on the Russia might have done this to itself column. Okay? Because they have every interest in using Nord Stream 2. They didn't build it for no fucking reason. Okay? It's already filled with seawater. Okay, listen. If it's fixable, then it doesn't fucking matter. It really isn't repairable. Seawater will damage it too severely. All I'm stating is if it's actually fixable, then that is absolutely that actually does unironically not conclusively prove it, but that's definitely workable intelligence. It is repairable if they can get it done within half a year. It's designed to withstand against corrosion by seawater for the duration of the time. What the fuck? What do we got? Underwater engineers in here? What's happening? Why do you guys know all this shit? As a pipeline expert, as of literally 30 seconds ago, the pipeline looks pretty fucked to me. Russia are the ones that are saying that it is possible to repair it. Yeah, but also they're also saying that authorities aren't letting anyone go near the pipelines. It should be technically possible to repair undersea ruptures to the Nord Stream pipelines, Russia's Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak said. There have never been such incidents. Of course, there are technical possibilities to restore the infrastructure. It takes time to appropriate funds. I am sure that appropriate possibilities will be found. No, this in and of itself is not proof. I'm talking like if the Nord Stream 2 pipeline is like still in operation, okay? It's not inoperable specifically because they're saying that they can repair it, which, you know, who knows if they actually are capable of doing it, but if they are actually capable of doing it, it's still a big L that they're posing to themselves for no fucking reason. Fact. This is a news story that HasanAbi was likely to cover. Fact. HasanAbi gets viewers from covering the news. Fact. HasanAbi personally stands to gain from the pipeline blowing up. I'm not saying that HasanAbi personally blew up the pipeline, but follow the money, sheeple. Why won't they just make a Nord Stream 3? Okay. They won't make a Nord Stream 3 because it's multiple billions of dollars. It's the same reason why Russia most likely wouldn't blow up its own pipeline. Repairing it is incredibly costly and literally eliminates their delivery mechanism during the fucking dead of the winter. If Nord's so good, why no Nord 3? It will take months. Obviously, it will take years and years and years to like literally build it, build another one. It'll take a decade at least. But if we're talking about just like repairing it even, it's going to take half a fucking year. Why would they, in the most opportune time, blow up their fucking pipeline? It's actually not repairable unless they get to it in under 3 weeks. That other chatter is wrong. I'm an engineer. And after 3 weeks, okay, you're fucking around. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't believe this anymore. Others, including the U.S. President Joe Biden, have said Moscow was to blame as part of its efforts to manipulate energy supplies to Europe. It was a deliberate act of sabotage. And now the Russians are pumping out disinformation and lies. Separately on Sunday, Danish authorities said the Nord Stream 1 pipeline has stopped leaking. A day after officials said the leak on Nord Stream 2 had also stopped. Once the leaking ends, detailed surveys of the damage can be carried out. 2 leaks are in Sweden's exclusive economic zone, and 2 are in Denmark's economic zone. Gazprom. Pressure is stabilized in the damaged gas pipelines of the Nord Stream system. The pressure in String A and Nord Stream 2 has gas pipeline. Both strings of Nord Stream 1 gas pipeline has become stable after the occurrence of the ruptures, and the gas leaks have stopped. Gazprom is working to decrease the pressure in String B of the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline. For that purpose, the company is pumping natural gas out of the pipe. This will make it possible to safely inspect String B for integrity, as well as to reduce potential environmental risks in the events of a possible gas leak. If a decision is made to start supplies via String B of Nord Stream 2, natural gas will be fed into the pipeline after the system is checked for the integrity, and the possibility of supplies is confirmed by the supervisory authorities. Another day, another twist in the Nord Stream saga. As a sabotage spared line B of Nord Stream 2, Gazprom now says it might send gas to DEU via that line, as other 3, NS1A and B and NS2A, are compromised. So either DEU opens Nord Stream 2 or zero Russian gas. What a coincidence. That is actually suspicious. That, like I said, is a major, I think, piece of information that has the potential of Russian sabotage. This part of it, and I said this literally day one. I said this on the day that this information came out. If Nord Stream 2 is somehow operable, then this actually turns, is very suspicious. It's still ridiculous for them to blow up their pipeline, but they're crazy. And in that circumstance, there is at least additional evidence that there is something to gain from this, which is, starting to use Nord Stream 2. Just saying they're crazy is not enough. But if you say they're fucking crazy enough to blow up their own pipelines and also force Europe's hand to use Nord Stream 2, well, then all of a sudden, it's not as crazy. Okay. Why would they blow up one pipe to use another? Because they want to use Nord Stream 2, which ultimately has more capacity. And they could technically, fix one as well, inevitably, and fix the second line on Nord Stream 2 and have everything in operation eventually. Chat believes all other anti-NATO information that comes out except for Russian news. These motherfuckers hate Russians without reason is hilarious. Yeah, I mean, they've been conditioned, okay? They have been conditioned into feeling this way. It is impossible when every fucking avenue, every outlet you trust to a certain degree is telling you one thing. Good luck. Good luck having good luck being able to cut through all that noise in any meaningful capacity. MBS leading the charge to cut oil production a month from the midterm should be viewed as a deliberate political act. I mean, it is. The Saudis want Trump to be president so they get total impunity for the human rights abuse. Yeah, like Biden was definitely so Come on, Tommy. It's not like Biden was fucking, genuinely causing trouble for Saudi Arabia. He already personally was like, you're the king, you're the GOAT. Yeah, honestly, Donald Trump is a bigger ally to Saudi Arabia than Biden is. And that's pretty much it. But don't act like Biden is actually doing anything. I still don't get why the Russians would blow it up anyway. Like, what benefit would they give them? They have wanted to use Nord Stream 2, which America was openly fucking stopping. They have wanted to use Nord Stream 2, which America was openly trying to get European partners that never use. Why not just blow up Nord Stream 1 then? I mean, it's a little sussy that they didn't blow up both of the lines on Nord Stream 2 and one of them still works. I get the suspicion with Nord Stream 2 being used instead of Nord Stream 1, but Blinken saying it was a tremendous opportunity for us keeps making me doubt any Russian did it scenarios. I know there's still a lot of fucking listen. There is still a lot of fucking information or at least evidence on the American side. But at least there is some workable not intelligence, but there is a little bit of more. I think there's more, not evidence necessarily, but there's more that Russia could gain from this now that we know of. One possible cause very much within Occam's razor is not being considered here. That the fucking thing just broke? No, that did not happen. That's insane. No. They determined, no, you're wrong about that. They already determined that there was a seismic activity that was similar to a explosion. Like there is evidence on there being an explosion. We know that already. I have trouble believing that the U.S. would bomb key infrastructure allies rely on and do it badly, such that one pipeline was repairable. Yeah, that's pretty much the only fucking fact that we have in this entire thing. Okay, let's get to now that we're done with the pipelines, let's keep laying some pipe and talk about OPEC Plus. OPEC Plus has agreed to its deepest cuts to oil production since the 2020 COVID pandemic at the Vienna meeting, which is ironic. They're meeting at Vienna, curbing supply in an already tight market despite pressure from the United States and others to pump more. The United States needs to be less dependent on OPEC Plus and foreign producers of oil, said the White House spokesman John Kirby. What an incredible opportunity. Yeah, we should be drilling more, dude. How about we just, nationalize our extraction industry? That's a good way. Why is it ironic that they're meeting in Vienna? I mean, I think it's ironic that they decide the fate of European markets in the fucking heart of Europe. Like, I get it. Like, they have headquarters. But you don't find it, you don't find it interesting that, like, all of these fucking oil producing nations come together in the middle of Europe? No, I get it. I know that their headquarters there. That fact in and of itself is funny to me, and it's ironic. Do you know what irony is? Yes. It has to make you wonder how much power capital has over everything else. It's so much more than like nationalistic desires. It's so much more powerful than any and every other thing that like these nation states, some of which literally still fucking murder people, okay, can all have their leaders get together. You have these ideas when you live in America or when you live in a Western liberal democracy about like how countries should run, okay? And then you have monarchs who fucking, butcher people like almost individually and personally, getting together in the fucking middle of Europe and being like, we're going to fucking lower the supply. Here's our headquarters. We're going to lower the fucking supply of oil so that like Europe gets cucked. That's how much power you have if you have that sweet, sweet world come. It kind of demystifies, in a way, all of these ideas that, are presented on the world stage about ideologies, about nationalities, about liberal democracies and how you should operate within that framework and how, the Western liberal democracy, the Western neoliberal democratic process is the savior of the entire world. And then you are so fucking cucked. Imagine going to Europe as a leader of a country in the global south and say you'll fuck them over. They really have us by their balls. Yeah. Why do you keep talking about Europe as the only one that will be suffering consequences? The fuck? It's like the U.S. won't suffer from it? No, of course the United States will suffer from it too. What the fuck are you talking about? That's why I said Western neoliberal hegemony, which the United States is very much the main disseminator of. Of course, the United States will suffer political losses, but the EU countries will suffer further. Vienna, London. OPEC Plus agreed to steep oil production cuts on Wednesday, curbing supply on an already tight market. I thought it was going to be 1 million barrels and then push to 2 million. I was wrong. New information has come out since then. And now the de facto leader, Saudi Arabia, said the cut of 2 million barrels per day of output, equal to 2% of global supply, was necessary to respond to rising interest rates in the West and a weaker global economy. The kingdom rebuffed criticism it was colluding with Russia, which is included in the OPEC Plus group, to drive prices higher, and said the West was often driven by wealth arrogance when criticizing the group. The White House said President Joe Biden would continue to assess whether to release further strategic oil stocks to lower prices. The president is disappointed by the short-sighted decision by OPEC Plus to cut production quotas, while the global economy is dealing with the continued negative impact of Russian President Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine, the White House said. Biden, of course, has low approval ratings that he's facing. I love that Saudi Arabia whipped America so fucking hard. They gave you a little bit of juice, and they were like, yeah, we'll improve production, okay? And then the market stabilized a little bit, and everyone's going, oh, man, Dark Brandon, he did it again, myself included. And then now they're like, just kidding, lol, turn the faucet back off. All of a sudden, they're like, yeah, know who your fucking masters are. Biden faces low approval ratings ahead of midterms elections due to the soaring inflation and has called on Saudi Arabia, a long-term U.S. ally, to help lower prices. U.S. officials have said the part of the reason Washington wants to lower oil prices is to deprive Moscow of its oil revenue. Biden traveled to Riyadh this year, but failed to secure any firm cooperation commitments on energy. Relations have been further strained as Saudi Arabia has not condemned Moscow's actions in Ukraine. Dude, the funniest thing here would be if they I don't know, release some 9/11 documents or something that directly showed the Saudi involvement. You know what I mean? I don't think they'll do that, though. I think they'll cave and concede. And instead of going balls to the wall mode against Saudi Arabia, they'll be like, please, we'll literally personally start killing children in Yemen. Please. Please, we beg you. You are our Lord and Savior. OPEC Plus' real goals with these cuts is to drive up the cost of American oil prices and therefore server infrastructure. Yeah, okay, bro. No. Oil prices are everything, okay? They impact everything, not just server prices. Like the top of the hour ad break avoidance prices. Like, for example, right now, as it stands, $5 a month is how you avoid the top of the hour ad break. Okay? But who knows what'll happen when oil prices are way higher? You know what I mean? When production goes down, all of a sudden there's less oil, demand is still the same. Now, prices of oil is going to go up. Okay? Now, if that happens, all other avenues of your life are more expensive, including a subscription to Twitch, maybe even a Twitch Prime. But right now, as it stands, Twitch Prime is free as long as you have an Amazon Prime account connected to your Twitch account. It can be anyone's Amazon Prime account, as a matter of fact, connected to your Twitch account. Okay? Or you can get gifted a sub if you're lucky. That one is like the freest way to do it, just being lucky. Barrelon, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads. Anyway, here's the 1 minute ad break now. What is this? Why did you send this to me? I don't understand. Untitled Champ, thank you for the 5 get the subs as well. Top Saudi diplomat discusses U.S. relations, human rights, oil production, Iran and Israel. This is from July.
As we reported earlier, President Biden wrapped up his first trip to the Middle East today at a meeting of 10 regional leaders led by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The trip largely focused on Saudi Arabia's human rights record and President Biden reversing his promise to make Saudi Arabia a pariah state. But there was also talk of oil and whether Saudi Arabia would produce more, possibly easing gas prices. Last night, correspondent Nick Schifrin sat down with Adel Al-Jubeir, the Saudi Minister of State for Foreign Affairs.
Do you believe that these meetings mean that President Biden has decided not to make Saudi Arabia a pariah?
I believe that quote was...
Deadly Higanbana. Thank you for the 25 get the subs. I don't even know what that means.
During the campaign, and the campaign is what I call the funny season. Lots of things happen, but people have a different perspective once they're in office and have access to intelligence and information, and they look at the vastness of the relationship. So it's a critically important relationship, and it's important that we have continue the tradition of personal contact between the leadership of our two countries.
One of the points of contention that President Biden's pointed out is human rights, and tonight he specifically said that he brought up Jamal Khashoggi's death to the Crown Prince. The president said that MBS said he was not personally responsible for it, and then the president said, I indicated to him that he probably was responsible for it. Is that how that went?
I didn't hear that exchange, that particular exchange. What I heard is that the president talked about the importance of human rights to the United States, and that human rights is an issue that American presidents attach great importance to, even though sometimes they don't live up to those ideals, which makes America human like the rest of the world.
Did the president bring up Jamal Khashoggi?
He mentioned the issue of Jamal Khashoggi, and he said that this is an issue that has generated a lot of interest and concern in the U.S. Congress and among the American public, and that he knew what Saudi Arabia's position was, and the Crown Prince indicated that Saudi Arabia did what every civilized country would do. We investigated, we brought charges against those who committed this crime. The courts rendered their verdicts, and those individuals were punished. America did this after Abu Ghraib. Nobody can say that George Bush as president was responsible or ordered Abu Ghraib.
President Biden said tonight that the Saudis, quote, share the urgency about lowering oil prices. Will Saudi Arabia push for OPEC Plus to increase oil production in the next few weeks?
Saudi Arabia's policy has always been to make sure that there are adequate supplies of oil that go to the markets.
Adequate is a different word than the president used.
Whatever the markets need. We try to ensure that the markets are adequately supplied. This has been our policy for a number of decades now.
That, with all due respect, that doesn't sound like you're going to increase production in the next few weeks, as the president hinted.
No, we have increased production over the last 9 months tremendously. There will be an OPEC meeting on the 3rd of August, I believe, and decisions will be made with regards to whether the market needs more crude or not. So it's not a yes or no.
Let's talk about Iran. U.S. and Israeli officials I speak to say the breakout time in Iran is just a few weeks, but that actually creating nuclear bombs might take as much as 2 years. Is that the Saudi assessment as well?
I can't comment on terms of specific assessments, but our view is that the Iran acquiring a nuclear weapon is extremely dangerous to the world and extremely dangerous to our region. We believe that Iran should be prevented from acquiring a nuclear weapon with all means possible. We believe that the JCPOA in its original form was too weak and too limited.
And therefore the deal that's on the table currently is also too weak and too limited?
We believe that any agreement has to ensure that Iran can never produce a nuclear weapon. Our criticism of the original deal was that it had a limit on how many years Iran was restricted from enriching, and it also had a limit with regards to the extent of the inspections. The inspections were very intrusive, but they were not broad enough.
The Crown Prince 4 years ago said that if Iran were to go nuclear, Saudi Arabia would also go nuclear. Has Saudi Arabia taken any steps toward that decision, given how close that breakout time is in Iran?
We certainly would not be discussing this on television, but we have pointed out the danger of Iran going nuclear. We believe that it will contribute to proliferation in our region, and our position was very clearly articulated.
Will Saudi Arabia take further steps of normalization toward Israel so long as there is an occupation by Israel of the Palestinians?
It's not about normalization. Our objective is to have peace, and our objective is to have peace in which you have two states living side by side in peace and security, and both states prospering. We believe that when you reach that point, then everything is possible. But we believe that the Israelis have to take certain steps in order to try to make that happen.
Bahrain, Jordan, Egypt, and of course the United Arab Emirates have political normalization, but they also, according to Israeli officials, have military and intelligence cooperation with the Israeli military. Is that something that the Saudi military is willing to do?
We see the countries that signed.
Rumor has it the Saudi foreign minister is hella gay. Really?
Agreements with Israel under the so-called Abraham Accords, and we're beginning to see some impact of those decisions on the Israeli domestic politics with regards to the benefits of having peace. And we hope that those positive changes will continue and lead to a more forward-leaning policy within Israel towards an accommodation with the Palestinians.
So that sounds like that kind of cooperation, military to military intelligence cooperation, these are simply steps that you're not willing to take yet.
There are, it's difficult to take steps in the absence of peace agreements.
Adel Al-Jubeir, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Silent for 2 minutes. Yo, this man gay? Shut the fuck up. POTUS. No one fucks with a Biden.
Thanks for everything. Thanks for coming down. We appreciate it. I picked the...
No one fucks with the Biden.
Yeah, goddamn right.
and I can't argue with your brothers outside the house.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Just in, Russia could cut its oil production by as much as 3 million barrels per day if the EU and US proceed with a plan to cap prices, market experts have warned Bloomberg. What happened? I thought everybody loved the free market. I actually don't understand it. Like, now they don't like the free market? Is that what it is? Seems like the United States and the EU are not in favor of a free market. Which, of course, a free market, not so free when there's already a fucking monopoly on the other side of it, regardless. It's great. Once again, on the one hand, you have the oil cartel, okay, OPEC Plus, that completely control and dominate the supply of fucking oil barrels. So they have all the fucking, they have all the power. On the other side, you have Western nations that are like, nah, we're just not going to pay whatever you want us to pay. We're going to cap it. And of course, as always, the people that suffer are just regular Normans, regular civilians, regular citizens that have absolutely zero fucking say in the matter. Dang it, Hasan, I know you, me, but I'm seriously trying to be a friend. Doesn't matter. Welcome to the free market, it. Do it, Dark Brandon. Reveal OPEC's immunity. Key paragraph here in the White House statement suggests that maybe U.S. interest in exploring NOPEC or repealing sovereign immunity from antitrust legislation that protects OPEC producers who manipulate energy prices would be a huge response. In light of today's action, the Biden administration would also consult with Congress on additional tools and authorities to reduce OPEC's control over energy prices. Dark Brandon rises up. Whenever people talk about the free market, I think of this tweet. Any doctor here? I'm a doctor. He's having a heart attack. I'm a doctor of economics. He's going to die. Impossible. That wouldn't be in his self-interest. I just don't know how they would do this. Like, I don't know what they would do. Like, I don't know how you would do anything here. Like, how can you say, well, it's illegal, sir, to have a monopoly here? Like, what are you going to do? Fucking invade them? Like, what? Are you going to invade every fucking country that is a part of OPEC? Like, I legitimately do not know what you would do in this situation. Like, what kind of, I mean, they have stress, right? They have pressure valves. Set a price cap on domestically produced oil and limit exports. Yes, but you can only combat that so much. Like, there's already a reason why America has, for a very long time, kind of bowed down to OPEC, right? New Herschel Walker ad just dropped. Fuck me, he is going to win. Okay, we'll do that on Defense Production Act on domestic producers. First of all, here's what I will say. This is anti-capitalist action. Okay? This, in and of itself, is anti-capitalist action. It might be motivated by political reasons. Okay? But this is inherently an anti-capitalist action. And the only defense mechanism is doing further anti-capitalist action, like nationalizing oil production, or at least some semblance of that, which is using the Defense Production Act, right? And I'm going to tell you what will not happen. That America is a capitalist nation. For them to do something like this, something so fucking severe, like what are they going to do? The oil producers would pull a CIA, oil producers would do what they're doing in Nigeria to America, okay? Joe Brandon would turn into JFK, and I don't mean early JFK. I don't mean Marilyn Monroe having sex JFK. I mean JFK in Dallas. These guys do not have a problem starving the American public. They have said time and time again that their main interest is their shareholder interest, okay? Improving profits for their shareholders. At a time when Joe Brandon was like, come on, make it cheaper. They were like, no, fuck that. We're not doing that. American manufacturers have said this. What? Oh, God, don't send this to me, man. What the fuck?
Halima, tell us a little bit about what is kind of riding on this meeting right now.
I mean, there's an expectation that we're going to see a significant OPEC production cut. This will be
Here, people keep asking, what is OPEC? Here you go.
Petrol for your car. It's an ingredient in a lot of what we use, from the plastic glove that keeps your hand clean to the tires that keep you on the road, which means these products can be affected by the fluctuating price of oil. That price is largely decided by supply and demand and the collective actions of an organization that provides 40% of the world's oil, OPEC. OPEC stands for the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. It was formed in 1960 by founding members Iraq, Kuwait, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. The group was created to monitor the stability and prices of the petroleum.
I mean, if I were Biden, I'd tell MBS the cost of maintenance on their bombers just went up to $1 billion a day. I mean, yeah, you could do that. I mean, that's no different fundamentally than like arming the Houthis. So it's literally like the other side of that equation. Why not? Fucking roll with it, dude. Go crazy. You know what I mean? Oops. Inflation came for you, Jack. Cut the malarkey. Oh, man. Except, again, that contract is not dictated by Brandon. That contract is not done at the behest of the State Department. Or if it is done at the behest of the State Department, it is being done for Raytheon, for Lockheed Martin, for Boeing. Do you understand? Everything that America does, it does because it's 5 corporations in a fucking trench coat, okay? So you can't really do that either. That's the fundamental reality that a lot of people are forgetting in this circumstance. Okay? The American government, just like all governments, is vast. It has awesome powers, and yet it regularly refuses to use said powers because they are cucked to corporations. Okay? That's it. That's the reality. Same goes for the fucking oil producers, which we cannot control and refuse to control. And same goes for the fucking defense manufacturers. Those are like 2 major industries right there. So you can talk a big fucking game. You can talk a big game about what America can do, what America should do, but ultimately, I don't think they're going to do that. Can't wait for Cyberpunk IRL. My brother, you are living in Cyberpunk IRL. The only difference is we don't have cool, like, you know, modifiers that we can put on our bodies. That's it. And you don't have a Suckmaster 5000 that you can strap onto your VR kit. But it's literally Miltech and Arasaka running the country. That is true. Just less neon and no Suckmaster 5000. The body mods in Cyberpunk aren't supposed to be cool. Yeah, whatever, lame ass. Imagine having that take, dude. Pfft. What? Yeah, no, you be lame as fuck and not get a body modifier that allows you to jump up to a fucking bridge, okay? I, on the other hand, am going to go cyber psycho, okay? Lame. I'm a chromatic, 100%. I will be using the drugs that fucking suppress your immune system out the fucking wazoo, okay? I will be suppressed to the goddamn gills, Choom. I'm going full chrome, Choom, okay? I'm chromed out. Anyway, that's like dumb shit. Let's continue. Does anyone know the original creator of Cyberpunk said the Cyberpunk future in 2020? And he accurately predicted the 2008 housing crisis and the 2017 recession. Wait, what? But Hassan, what about the transhumanism themes and critique inherent to the cyberpunk genre regarding augmentation? Yeah, sorry, dude. You failed, okay? If your goal was to make it seem like the Sandavistan is not fucking cool, you were wrong, okay? I get it. The main goal is to say, oh, yeah, human beings are like ruining their own fucking bodies, whatever. Lame. I don't give a fuck, dude. I literally do not give a fuck. Can you imagine being kitted out with all different matter of like cyber implants and shit, and I'm streaming 24/7, okay? I would literally strap cameras all around myself and UAV drone systems as I go and like fight crime and shit, okay? Oh my God, dude, I'd be streaming 24/7 in the cyberpunk universe. Arthritis and bone degradation over time exists? No, dude, call me fucking, what was it, Adam Savage or whatever? The fucking main guy, the one in Cyberpunk, the video game as well. Adam Smasher, dude. I'm fucking, call me Hasan Smasher, okay? Sniping chatters via HUD beam straight into your cyber retina? Yeah. Yeah, I'm Adam Savage, bitch. What?
Adam Smasher, hurry! Go on, kill
Okay, this is a fucking... This is a spoilerino, dude. Why'd you send that? That was a major spoilerino. Okay, I didn't show you anything. Don't worry. Also, you have to remember, like, I liked the Cyberpunk game because I am a slut for good world building. Okay? You give me like a cool dystopian world that you've built, I'm gonna whore myself out in it. Okay? So much so that I unironically loved Cyberpunk, if you guys remember, and it was hard for so many people to play it, and I was glad that I was able to play it on my PC. The universe is incredible. I would love to live in that universe, okay? I would love to live in that universe. Are you going to play the DLC? Fuck yeah, I'm going to play in the DLC. What are you, fucking nuts? The anime was great too. It was sad, but it was great. Anyway, let's get back to OPEC, the real dystopian future monopoly that we were talking about.
Petroleum market, which was previously determined by US-dominated multinational oil companies. Currently, OPEC member countries also include Algeria, Angola, Ecuador, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Libya, Nigeria, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. Today, these oil-producing member countries supply over 40% of the world's crude oil production, and together they control more than 80% of the world's proven crude oil reserves. OPEC's oil and energy ministers meet twice a year in Vienna, Austria, where they collectively
Pan Am or Judy is a dumb question. Pan Am, dude. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? That's my queen. How dare you even
decide whether to raise or lower oil output in order to maintain a stable market. Critics argue that it's a way for them to maintain the price they want. But does OPEC actually control world oil? The biggest consumers of oil are the US and China. It was China's rapid development in the early 2000s, coupled with a lack of growth in the production of oil, which sent the price of oil shooting up. In turn, those high prices made it profitable for non-OPEC countries like the US and Canada to go after and discover harder to extract oil. Because they weren't bound by the cartel's decisions, these countries have grown their levels of supply, which meant OPEC's market influence began to decline. A rise in supply and a reduced demand for oil in Europe and Asia led to the price of oil crashing. This caused political problems in some OPEC countries like Venezuela, where oil is the chief driver of the economy. It has the largest proven oil reserve.
I want to run this again. Hold on.
Market influence began to decline. A rise in supply and a reduced demand for oil in Europe and Asia led to the price of oil crashing. This caused political problems in some OPEC countries like Venezuela, where oil is...
Oh, that caused the political crisis. Because, like, if that was enough, then there wouldn't be additional sanctions, right? Like, if it was just a free market doing its thing, then I feel like no political crisis in Saudi Arabia, though. Yeah, weird.
Is the chief driver of the economy. It has the largest proven oil reserves in the world, but also the highest inflation rate on the planet. But for most consumers, the drop in the price of oil has meant cheaper fuel and lower energy costs. Since 2016, however, oil prices have been steadily rising. Later that year, the Saudi-led OPEC members agreed to the first production cut since 2008, a reduction of around 1 million barrels a day. Crucially, Russia and 10 other non-members also agreed to pump less oil. OPEC and its allies agreed to extend the cuts through to the end of 2018. But in the US, there's a shale oil boom. Production levels recently hit a record high and are predicted to surpass both Saudi Arabia and Russia. But even with higher output levels, the US still imports roughly 300 million barrels of oil a month. For the renewable energy industry, however, keeping oil supply high and steady makes it an attractive alternative and might be one of the most powerful tools to grow the sector. But the price of oil remains volatile. Geopolitical factors such as the Iran nuclear deal and President Trump threatening OPEC could see the prices go up or down. But in the end, the forces of supply and demand will ultimately determine the price. With more than 80% of the world's proven oil reserves, OPEC in the 21st century continues to be relevant, and their decisions can still affect the price of oil, if just temporarily. But as new sources of energy gradually replace hydrocarbons, the oil industry faces a race against time. In the words of an ex-Saudi oil minister, the Stone Age did not end for lack of stone, and the oil age will end long before the world runs out of oil.
Cap. Notice how there's no energy independence discussions ever that revolve around, I don't know, shifting our hyper focus away from fossil fuels. Anyway, that clip is from 2018, by the way. Yeah, it's easier to imagine. It's easier to imagine the end of the world than the end of capitalism. And you can just copy paste that into all facets, right? Including, but not limited to, oil production.
Be the first major OPEC plus cut since 2020 when oil prices went negative. And this is obviously something that the Biden administration would be, very concerned about. The question is, how large is the cut going to be? We're hearing numbers like 2 million barrels a day production cut. Who will make the cut? A number of OPEC countries are underperforming. So the question is, are the countries that are the major producers going to do the bulk of the heavy lifting on this production cut?
Halima, the big question in this is, look, OPEC exists for a reason. It's to try and manipulate prices of oil, keep prices higher. What do they think is a fair price at this point? We used to think $40 to $60 was okay, or $60 to $70. If they're not happy at 87, what's their expectation of where oil prices should be?
I mean, OPEC producers always say they are not targeting price. I think there are multiple reasons why a production cut is likely coming. I mean, we had Prince Abdulaziz, the Saudi oil minister, several weeks ago express real concern about what he believed was a disconnect between the financial and physical markets. So is this a sort of circuit breaker that the Saudis are throwing into the market, saying, you're more concerned about Jay Powell, we're going to show you that we are a regulator in this market? Russia, though, is a clear factor to watch. And the deputy prime minister of Russia will be arriving at OPEC soon. He is under U.S. sanction, and the Russians have every incentive to want to push prices higher. They also have every incentive to try to scuttle the European Union's plans to impose sanctions and a price cap on Russian oil come December 5.
And that's why this potential meeting is so much more important, that there's so much more riding on that. This is not just about prices. This is not just about the market. This is about global stability from a defensive perspective, from a security perspective. Do they not understand that, or do they not care?
I mean, Becky, this is far more than about oil. Now, Russia is at the head of the OPEC Plus table. There are no indications that Russia will be vacating that seat. But to have the Russian deputy prime minister in Vienna at this moment, obviously, this is not just an oil story. This is a geopolitical story. This is a security story. And we're going to be watching very closely to.
I love that we just finished the fucking what is OPEC story. Okay, for those of you who still don't understand what OPEC is or what OPEC Plus is. And this motherfucker goes, what is OPEC? Bro, just go back in the fucking, please, just go back in the VOD or something, dude. I don't know. Just Google it.
What he says in this press conference today.
We've heard the White House.
People sometimes just expect me to spoon feed information over and over again. It's like, I'm not Google, man. We already covered it.
They have been making calls, trying to get around.
Y'all are failing, okay? You're failing.
I mean, obviously, this is not something that the White House wants. They do not want an OPEC plus production cut. Remember, President Biden visited Saudi Arabia in July. And so I think they were trying to potentially scale back.
One cool thing that you do have to recognize about OPEC and OPEC plus nations is that some of these countries within OPEC and OPEC plus, and I would even include Russia in this, but of course, Saudi Aramco being one, are beholden to state actors. Unlike the United States of America, which is beholden to corporate benefactors. So the exact opposite dynamic exists in the United States of America. The United States government is beholden to corporate profit motives, whereas the Saudi oil producers are beholden to the Saudi government, the kingdom. So whatever they say goes. Same with even Russia, where if the state decides we are going to change our oil production and our output, then the companies have to follow along. in the United States of America, if the United States of the American government decides, yeah, we got to do something about these oil prices, our corporations will say, fuck off, Jack. So dictators are better? Unironically, yes. I am actually saying that. If you consider state-owned and operated extraction industries to be dictatorships, then yes, the Norwegian dictatorship trumps the American corporate oligopoly. Yeah. The dictatorship of Norway is fundamentally a better way to operate than the American oligarchy. Notice how I didn't say the Saudi dictatorship and I said the Norwegian dictatorship, because Norway also is a country that has Norway is a Western nation. It also has oil, and it has also nationalized its extraction industries all the way from oil down to forestry, because you only have the opportunity to comprehend fucking dictatorship bad, wrong, any sort of control over corporations is bad, dictatorship wrong. But you don't feel like that when it's Norway. That's why I use Norway instead of Venezuela or Saudi Arabia. I love you, Hasan. Thanks. This is how outrageously cuck Biden is. Last year, begging oil companies not to gouge Americans. That wasn't last year. That was this year. Wait, was that last year? I thought that was this year. What the fuck? Time flies, dude. That's crazy that this was last year. Oh my God. I thought that was like last week, man. What the fuck, dude? What is happening to my brain, brother? You mean Greater Sweden and not Norway, right? I just call it Daneland. I call it what it is, Daneland, which also encompasses broader swaths of the United Kingdom as well. That is right. I will come out and say it. The Danish are Turks, and therefore Danish supremacy. It's Daneland. It's all Daneland. It's always been Danelaw. America was founded by Leif Erikson. The Danes did it first. And therefore, America is also Danish. Us Danes, we will not forget. We will not forgive, we will not forget the betrayal by the Anglo-Saxons, butchering our children, locking them into barns and lighting those barns on fire. Yes, I recently watched Vinland Saga. How can you tell?
Back the size of this cut. But again, all indications are that we are hearing right now, this is going to be...
And The Last Kingdom. And also the new Vikings show on Netflix. That wasn't bad either.
A multi-million barrel a day cut. Potentially 2 million barrels a day is going to be announced this afternoon.
What will that mean for oil prices, for the oil markets?
I mean, Becky, this is really an interesting question because you have a number of OPEC countries that have been underperforming. So the question is this effectively going to be a sort of paper cut, or is this going to be a significant pullback in actual production? So who does the production cuts will matter in terms of what the market impact will be. And even if we have a sort of muted response today because there's already this expectation of production cut, fast forward to December. that's when that European embargo on Russian oil takes effect. The price cap policy is supposed to launch. And so I think what we're setting up for is a potential significant bounce come December. So even if we don't see it today, keep your eyes on year end.
How a 10-year-old boy was forced to join ISIS? What the fuck? No context, Brits? Nah. What? Rico, 18. Fixing leaks by day, making leaks by night. Winky face. All women are chickens and I'm in the mood for breast. That's right. You fucking twat. I'm 18 in it. I'm fucking 18 in it. I'm in the mood for some breast disease, yeah? Little cheeky breast disease, yeah? Not sure you saw the GOP saying the quiet part loud again. Yes, we are now going to talk about Herschel motherfucking Walker, okay? Before we talk about Russia, we are going to talk about Herschel Walker.
Republicans, including former President Trump, are throwing their full support behind Georgia Senate candidate Herschel Walker, despite a report in the Daily Beast claiming he paid for a girlfriend's abortion in 2009. Walker denies all of that, and he prayed yesterday with a supportive crowd at a surprise campaign event, as he remains locked in a very close race with Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock. Robert Costa is following this in Atlanta. Bob, good morning. What's the reaction been in Georgia to all of this?
Good morning, Nate. Nationally, Republicans are standing with Walker. That shows how important this race is to winning the Senate majority. Here in Georgia, it's mostly the same. Conservative activist Eric Erickson told us the next 48 hours will be critical for Walker's campaign in terms of how he answers tough questions. Democrats expect the race against incumbent Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock to tighten.
Bob, Walker's son, Christian, who is known as a conservative influencer, posted this video on Twitter after his dad denied the abortion allegations. I want you to...
Isn't it wonderful how Republicans will just run with abortion is murder for like years and years and years, only until it's like no longer politically important for them to do so. Once they finally banned or criminalized abortion in all the states that they wanted to, they got it through the Supreme Court. And then, boom, all of a sudden they're like, okay, maybe some of the murder is all right. Like, have we checked the vibes? Have we vibe checked the fetus? You know what I mean? Maybe the fetus had bad fucking vibes. Like, they literally were like, abortion is murder unconditionally, okay? And now that they're like, oh, fuck, this is blowing up in our faces, maybe abortion is not so much murder. And not only that, but also Herschel Walker got an abortion. Okay, well, some murders are fine. You know, some murders are fine. We meant like when liberals do abortion, that's murder. Republicans can do murder.
Take a look.
He has 4 kids, 4 different women, wasn't in the house raising one of them. He was out having sex with other women. Do you care about family values? I was silent lie after lie after lie. The abortion card drops yesterday.
Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, there's no better fucking argument, dude. The big takeaway should be that no one really thinks abortion is murder. They only say so for political effect, which is true. We've been saying this for a very long time. No one thinks that. No one. I mean, no one thinks that. It's just fucking bullshit. And that's the tea. Close these. Let's close these. OPEC. Kushner. Production. Top White House officials are disappointed. All right. OPEC Plus. Andrew Tate. Oh, God, no. Dear God, that's the Matt Walsh stuff. All right. That's Ron DeSantis. Absolutely slaying. It's fucking mental. It's mental. All right, let's get back to this now. We've cleared up some of our tabs here, yeah?
Today, it's literally his handwriting in the car. They say they have receipts, whatever. He gets on Twitter. He lies about it.
These are strong words by his own son. Bob, has the campaign responded to Christian's remarks?
Herschel Walker has said he loves his son, a 23-year-old who at times has been a controversial social media figure. But this entire episode and these clips really shows how in politics today, family dynamics can erupt at times on social media. And it's become not just a political reckoning for Herschel Walker, but a personal one, because these videos have generated over 1 million views online. Nate?
Eyes will be on this race for more reasons than one.
Okay, well, the Daily Show talked about who Herschel Walker is. If you are wondering who the fuck is Herschel Walker, maybe we'll listen to my mortal enemy. I don't know why I said that. I love Trevor Noah and the Daily Show, and I think everything he's doing is cool, especially who he decides to date. That's great. Let's watch Trevor Noah. I thought a fanny was an arse. No, a fanny like a pussy, mate. Like a cunt, yeah? Like a gash, right? Anyway, when does part 2 of the Fear podcast come out? What do you mean part 2? Thought you already joined the Daily Show. Soundpiker announced as the new host of the Daily Show as Trevor Noah steps down, THR reports. I mean, I also have bad accents, so... Was this Andrew Rose
the
Ben
autism
Shapiro?
actually helps you focus on certain things.
Like what?
I don't know. I mean, that's what they say about people on the spectrum.
Yeah, let's
One of the
ask
things
Ben
they say
Shapiro.
is, you think he's on it?
Oh, autistic Adam Smith. That's what I call him. Dude, let's go. Oh, the free market is like, ask him about anything. You like donuts? Well, the best donuts would be in the free market. It's like, bro.
I'm not laughing at that. I'm doing this. Look.
Turn it off for a second, dude. Just fucking turn it off. We get it. You like capitalism, dude. Turn it the fuck down.
Joe loved that. As an autist, I approve this message. If anything, you should be mad that he said Ben Shapiro's autistic. You know, you don't want him a part of your gang, autism gang. You killed it on Flagrant. Love that ep. Dude, I loved it too. It was fucking great. Wild, because there was such fucking crybabies that they like lost their shit. You know what I mean?
President
Anyway, but the Herschel Walker saga is not over, obviously. Here's a new Herschel Walker ad. Fucking killing it, dude. The man is crushing it. Jesus Christ saved his life.
Reverend Warnock's running a nasty, dishonest campaign. Perfect for Washington. The Reverend doesn't even tell my full story, my true story.
Yeah. The Reverend doesn't tell why I held a razor. The Reverend doesn't tell why I threatened to kill her. Okay? It's kind of fucked up. I had reasons.
The Reverend doesn't even tell my full story.
The Reverend doesn't know that her vibes were fucking off. Okay? That's kind of fucked up, Reverend.
My true story. As everyone knows, I had a real battle with mental health. Even wrote a book about it. And by the grace of God, I've overcome it. Warnock's a preacher.
Dude, that's so sick. Everyone's a liberal. Remember, everyone's a liberal. Everyone's a liberal. Everyone's a liberal. He literally said mental health problems is the reason why I held a knife to the neck of a partner, okay? But of course, don't worry. I don't have mental health complications any longer because I overcame them. How? Modern medicine, of course not. Therapy, of course not. God.
Who doesn't tell the truth. He doesn't even believe in redemption. I'm Herschel Walker, saved by grace, and I approve this message.
Oh, that's so good. Everyone's a liberal is awesome. I threatened my spouse because I have ADHD. ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. 1 minute, you're thinking something. The next, you've lost your train of thought. I love that. I love that TikTok. We're going to have Sahib on soon, hopefully. Every day a war wages in my mind. Jordan Peterson wife Tammy and daughter Michaela at a gig in Nashville. What? I can't stop thinking of that fucking meme, dude. It's so stupid. Anyway, but nobody cares. Nobody cares about Herschel Walker's abortions, dude, because abortion's not really fucking murder, okay?
So, does this change anything? I mean, do you want my opinion? You're listening. Not a damn thing.
Oh, God. Speak on it, Queen.
How many times have I said 4 very important words? These 4 words. Winning is a virtue. What I'm about to say is in...
It's true. No, this is it. They always say it. They openly say it all the time. God, liberals are such fucking cucks. I despise them so much. She's right. She doesn't give a fuck about anything. They only care about winning. She's admitting it. Someone clip this. Oh, wait, it doesn't matter.
No means a contradiction or a compromise of a principle. And please keep in mind that I am concerned about one thing and one thing only at this point. So I don't care if Herschel Walker paid to abort endangered baby eagles. I want control of the Senate.
I love this tape because, like, she's literally saying Herschel Walker paid to abort a child, which is murder, but who gives a fuck? But even if he paid to abort endangered baby eagles, which is somehow worse than a fucking human child, like, it's just it's so obvious that abortion is so not murder that, like, she's literally saying, like, oh man, even if Herschel Walker did something worse than a baby murder, which it isn't, what about baby eagle murder? Even then it doesn't matter.
Senate. If the Daily Beast story is true, you're telling me Walker used his money to reportedly pay some skank for an abortion, and Warnock wants to use all of our monies to pay a whole bunch of skanks for abortions.
Oh my God, she says skank. What is this, fucking 1987? Why do conservatives are so weird? They like did Dana Loesch forget that she's a woman? Like, I don't understand. Why? Why are you being like this?
And yes, when they're used predominantly over 99% of birth control and it's my taxpayer dollars, you have invited me up in your business and I will use whatever descript I would like to.
By the way, once again, here it is. I'm repeating the same thing I said even before this clip, but it's like, we don't give a fuck that you did an abortion, okay? We don't care about it. It's not a moral conundrum because ultimately we know that you're going to stop others from doing abortions, okay? And that's what matters. Which, by the way, it doesn't even fucking matter, okay? Like, what is he going to do as a senator? You know what I mean? He doesn't know how to fucking... He's not going to push bills. It's just a reliable vote for Republicans. That's it. That's all they care about. Because, like, abortion is already, you know, it's done. It's a done deal.
Thank you. So, it doesn't change anything for me. I don't know if he did it or not. I don't even care.
But yeah, this is part of the reason why I've always been like, abortion is not murder, and no one actually believes that it's murder. Only fucking dummies say that. Only dumb idiots fucking say that and try to use it as a talking point. Republicans do not give a fuck. They don't think it's murder. They don't actually think it's murder. If they thought it was murder, they wouldn't have immediately changed their campaign strategies around like celebrating on a fucking a pile of like 14-year-olds that were raped and had to get abortions. Going from that to being like, oh, well, fuck, maybe in some instances it's not murder, actually. Like, we should be like Western Europe on abortion and not like China on abortion. Like, wait, how did they do that? Why did they make that flip? Why did they actually make that fucking switch? Also, if anyone's a slut in this fucking story, it's the guy who cheated on every person that he's been with and left his fucking kids behind. Why is the woman a skank? Like, is there no instance where the man has any autonomy? Oh, wait, of course not, because he's literally fucking mentally ill to a degree where he doesn't have fucking autonomy, okay? It's just mind-boggling that he's running for he's running for office. It's crazy to me. Every part of that video was cut so perfectly to reveal exactly what conservatives care about. They care about winning. They care about a conservative vote, which we all knew already. They care about winning above everything else, okay? They also do not care about the autonomy of the woman in any meaningful capacity unless it is to say that the man has no responsibility in cheating on his wife or his partner, okay? And it's still the woman's fault. It's the woman's fault. She's a skank for fucking a married man, an honest man. It's just so obvious that it's just about punishing women. It's about denying women bodily autonomy. Nothing to do with abortion being murder or anything like that. It's not. They don't believe it.
Vladimir Zelensky says Ukrainian troops are making powerful advances in the south. The Ukrainian leader of the Luhansk region says the deoccupation has begun. Despite the setbacks, the Kremlin is moving forward to annex 4 Ukrainian regions. Earlier today, President Vladimir Putin signed into law measures deemed illegal under international law. Well, meanwhile, Russia says it should be part of the probe into leaks on the Nord Stream gas pipelines. Sweden has blocked off the area around the pipelines pending an investigation. Well, I want to welcome Peter Holtquest, Sweden's defence minister. He joins me now via Skype from Stockholm. Good to have you with us, Minister.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So there's been so much speculation about these blasts on the pipelines that run from Russia to Germany. Many point to sabotage. What can you tell us about the likely cause and the culprit?
First of all, we are now doing a police investigation. The Swedish security police they are responsible for it, and they are doing it in the area. And this will take some time, but it's very important that they can do their job. And they also do the same from the Danish side. So we have no evidence and we have no result yet. And they have to come back with the information when they think that it's
his job. What the fuck? Why are you making fun of an honest Dane man? This is Dane law. Everything is Daneland. It's his job. Fuck you. You swallowhova sucking American penises.
It's time for that. That is the topic number one. Topic number two is that from our first analysis is that this is done by somebody that have ambition to do something, and we see that there maybe is a responsibility for a state actor behind it.
And I understand, Minister, that Sweden has sent a diving vessel below to investigate. What more can you...
Why is there a fucking Aussie on CNN? CNN International? What the fuck is going on?
Tell us about how long it will take. We understand that Ukraine, along with many other nations, is already pointing the finger of blame at Russia. Should you find Russia responsible, what sort of action are you willing to take?
We haven't any evidence or proofs, so we can say that it's a specific nation. So what we have to do now is to do a good job around this investigation, and then we have to come back.
We've seen so much gas bubbling in the ocean from these pipelines. What do we know about the environmental damage, and when will these leaks cease?
It's too early to say, but it has an impact on the environmental question. And I think that there are still some activity with these leaks. But we also have now started the investigation around what's really have happened, and the security police is responsible.
I understand, Minister, that you've just come from the Swedish Foreign Policy Committee meeting. What was said about Russia's illegal annexation of those 4 regions in Ukraine, and what new sanctions are being considered?
I think that the European Union have to decide about new sanctions. That's very important. I think in Sweden we have full support for new sanctions, and we also condemn what the Russians have done. It's against international law in all means, and they escalate the war when they are doing like this. So we condemn what Russia have done.
So can you take us through the top talking lines, the agenda from the meeting you've just come from the Swedish Foreign Policy Committee meeting?
Yeah, the topics is the annexation of Crimea. It's also about these gas pipelines leaks in the economic zone of Denmark and Sweden. That is what we have discussed. Some of what we have discussed is classified and some of it is open, but it's a broad support for condemning Russia's activities in Ukraine. And we will support also Ukraine in the future with new deliverances with weapon systems.
Can you tell us more about that? Sweden obviously has dropped its neutrality, applied to join NATO. And Sweden, we know, has donated a number of packages already to Ukraine. Are there any more on the horizon?
We have decided 7 times about support, including military material, to Ukraine. One new dimension from our side is that we, together with other countries under UK leadership, train troops that should serve in the Ukrainian armed forces. We are also involved in international discussions about production directed, weapon system production directed to Ukraine. So we will see a long-term support to Ukraine. And we think that that is very important. And it's very important also to support them in ways so Ukraine can feel that they have a real support and that they can also be successful.
Peter Holtquest, Swedish Minister for Defence, we appreciate your time today. Thanks so much for joining us.
Back now at 7:30 here on CBS Mornings, and we are talking about 2 key midterm.
We already covered the Russia shit, but, you know, hopefully that was enlightening for you. Okay. Inflation, economy are top priorities in the Arizona midterm.
Races in the state of Arizona, races that are tightening dramatically as Election Day draws near. Let's go to the numbers. According to a newly released CBS News Battleground Tracker, it is an even split in that state for the race for governor. 49% each for Democrat Katie Hobbs and Republican Kari Lake. Democrat Mark Kelly has a slight edge over Republican Blake Masters on the Senate side. Now, Lake and Masters have both spread lies about the last election. Ed O'Keefe is in Tempe, Arizona for us this morning. Ed, good morning. Dare I ask, how are those lies resonating with voters?
Well, Tony, good morning. Good to see you. As you mentioned, those Republican candidates, others on the ballot also pushing those lies about the 2020 election. And it's one of the reasons why we track things here in Arizona so closely. And yet, according to our new Battleground Tracker, most voters here say they don't want that to be the main focus of the campaign.
When I'm governor, we're going to take a sledgehammer to these damn electronic voting machines.
Carrie Lake won the Republican primary for Arizona governor by fully embracing the lie that the 2020 election was stolen.
They certified a corrupt election. And
God, that was one of my favorite debates of all time. Also, Arizona is so fucked as a state. What a joke of a state, bro. Holy fucking shit. But can you imagine having these absolute psychopaths and then still being like, yep, nope, doesn't matter. In terms of state affairs, does it matter who blew up Nord? Both sides know whether they did it or not. And thus, if the other side did and how they should and will respond when it's revealed who done it, will anything change? Not saying there shouldn't be consequences. I mean, in the international stage, it's absolutely important for everyone to figure out who the fuck did it. It's not just a matter of personal curiosity. If it's revealed that Russia did it to itself, then Russia is, as far as the way that people see it, Russia is already a gigantic villain, but they're going to be even more in a worse position overall politically, both internally within Russia with domestic consequences, but externally with Europe. If it came out that the United States of America did it, holy fuck. Then the U.S. is going to be in a lot of hot water. Not that anything will change as far as like, the fuck is the EU going to do? Right? I said this on day one. I was like, if America did it, which I do think it did, like, I don't know. I think Russia might have done it as well, but I think like I'm still leaning on America doing it. The fuck is the EU going to do? Nothing. You're going to sit there and take it, bitch. You can't do anything about it.
And that's the problem.
You would not have certified our election.
No, I would not have.
But now she...
The only thing that could happen is because of like losing out on the political capital a little bit, it'll make it harder for European politicians to completely be cucked to the United States as they normally are supposed to be. And maybe this way, European politicians could say, no, we're going to work with Russia a little bit more and get oil and gas from them, and you can't control it. For the record, I can't see any of the super chats. If you guys are writing super chats, like GG's, you know? You're super chatting with chat. And their entire response to your super chat is just to say minus $10, minus $5. What? That's such a dumb, sober young Walter. You should have made a shirt that said all lives matter, do that? Nope. Quadrupling down.
She's locked in a close general election and not emphasizing that issue as much.
We're going to have to do what we did in the primary, which is go out and vote and take our friends and get out there and vote like our lives depend on it.
Her Democratic opponent, Katie Hobbs, warns Lake is too dangerous for Arizona.
All of these people that Trump has given his full endorsement to because they support his big lie, they could change the rules and they could overturn the will of the voters in future elections.
But denying the results of the 2020 election isn't a top concern for voters in Arizona. According to the new CBS News Battleground Tracker poll, more than half of even Republicans say it doesn't matter.
We have so many votes outside of the law.
But it's the main focus for Republican Mark Fincham. He was in Washington, seen here in the crowd on January 6, 2021. And now he's running to be Arizona's Secretary of State. It's a job that will put him in charge of elections ahead of the 2024 president.
Dude, I love that. I'm sorry. At least American politics is so entertaining. Someone said Doug Dimmadome ass. Yeah. Yeah, Doug Dimmadome, for those of you who don't know, owner of the Dimmadome of Dimsdale, Dimsdale's Dimmadome, is also an election truther. And he was there at January 6th, and he still firmly believes Antifa did it. Brother, you were there. You left Dimmadome. You left the Dimmadome unattended. You left Dimsdale and you went to D.C.
Potential campaign.
That's why, dear, I'm a threat to the left. And they know they got somebody who is not going to let go of this.
Democratic candidate Adrian Fontes is especially concerned about what could happen if Fincham wins and Donald Trump runs again for president.
He may not certify an election that Donald Trump doesn't win in 2024 as well. This isn't the most important election in our lifetimes. It could be the last free election that we have in our lifetimes.
Our battleground tracker also finds most think abortion should be legal.
Republicans hear that, go, say less. Say less, King. Love that. Fun. I'm a fan.
And that comes as a judge has reinstated a law dating back to 1864 that ends abortion access in Arizona and would jail doctors performing them. That decision upset longtime Republican Heather Carter so much that she's now leaving the GOP.
When you talk to women in Arizona and they share their personal stories one-on-one, many of them are using this issue as the deciding factor in the 2022 election.
Let's go.
And in the land of canyons, cacti, and the cardinals, just like everywhere else, the economy and inflation are the top concerns.
I see it as a businessman that we're going to hurt for the next 10 years. This giant wave that we're on is going.
What fucking business does this guy own? Arizona's letting anybody have a business, huh?
Going to affect us.
That was a trick question. We know he does HVAC. The fuck do you mean? What business does the guy own? I'm obviously joking. It's very obvious what his business is.
Immigration is also a big issue of concern here in Arizona. Perhaps no surprise, given that border towns continue to see a surge in migrants. And on the issue of the 2020 elections, there's this from the poll. A majority of voters say, the vast majority, in fact, say they want the next governor, whoever she is, to accept the results of future elections, no matter which party wins. Nate?
Quick update on Trump Mar-a-Lago.
To Washington now, where former President Trump wants the Supreme Court to weigh in on the investigation into classified documents seized by the FBI at Mar-a-Lago. Scott McFarlane is outside the high court to explain what exactly Trump hopes to achieve with this. Scott, good morning to you. That's always the question. What's Mr. Trump's endgame?
Hey, Gail, good morning. This is a limited legal challenge, but it appears to be a play by the Trump team to get more access to more of those documents. They're asking the Supreme Court to allow that outside legal expert, that special master, to review documents marked classified. It could also allow Trump's lawyers, though, to review those documents as it prepares to mount a defense.
What the fuck is going on? Nothing. It's a super chat telling what to do. Y'all are literally dummies, bro. I swear to God. People are like, I'm a free thinker in the chat until someone spends $5 for you to say R.I.P. McConnell. I got so fucking excited, dude. You fucking pieces of shit. God damn it. I got so fucking excited. Like, literally, my heart jumped up into my fucking throat for a second. You have to stop. You can't do that. Why would you do that? You just fooled not just me, but like so many other people into thinking that their day was going to be incredible. Like that's on. Now I'm so saddened. by the fucking pathetic reality that Mitch McConnell is still very much alive. You know what I mean? You're just like it's a reminder. There's like a couple of people, it's like Henry Kissinger. You know what I mean? You're like, oh my God, it finally fucking happened. Thank the Lord. And then you're just like, no, that was just a joke. So what am I left with? I'm left with the reality that, you know, it hasn't happened yet. You are going to get so canceled when he actually dies. I might go to fucking Kentucky to just take a shit on his grave. Problem is, evil motherfuckers never die. I don't give a fuck if I get canceled, dude. Come on, man. Right before TwitchCon, you're going to get banned? Wait, what? Why would I get banned?
The bottom line, this request prolongs the legal battle. However, Trump's request would have no impact on the Department of Justice investigation because it doesn't seek to block federal agents from examining those records. The Trump team is hoping the conservative-leaning court, to which the former president nominated 3 of the justices, will take up this case, and it's initially assigned to Clarence Thomas, who oversees emergency requests from the federal courts in Florida. Justice Thomas has ordered the Department of Justice to respond to this motion by Tuesday, and history is not on the Trump team's side. Last year, the High Court blocked a request from the Trump legal team to block the handover of records to the January 6th Select Committee. Nate?
Scott, thank you.
Well, Clarence Thomas decided to not do that, you know, for obvious reasons, but it only went so far.
The training program for Navy SEALs has been under increased scrutiny after the death of a recruit. That was back in February. Now CBS News has obtained video showing SEAL candidates being subjected to intense tear gas exposure. This raises even more questions about the Navy's training methods.
They want to pussify our SEALs, brother. God dang liptards. If we can't tear gas them, how the fuck are they going to get strong, brother? What's next? You're going to tell me you don't want the Navy SEALs helicopter teams to not drop another Black Hawk on their way to an operation? It's a part of our culture.
The commander in charge of Naval Special Warfare has now ordered an investigation. In a message yesterday to all the SEALs, he urged the men and the women under his command to create and enforce a culture of accountability. David Martin has more on that story.
Recruits for the elite Navy SEALs being hit with tear gas. They've been ordered to sing so they can't try to ride it out by holding their breath.
Hey, keep singing!
Exposure to tear gas is a standard part of SEAL training, but the way it's done here may violate the Navy's own rules.
The admiral in charge of the SEALs has ordered an investigation, saying the video raises questions about the lawfulness of the behavior.
If the investigation finds the instructors deliberately broke the rules in order to abuse or punish the recruits, they could be charged with a criminal offense.
To Sven Hjort of Duke University, who studies tear gas and its effects, the video looks more like hazing than training.
I was really shocked. They were definitely exposed to concentrations of tear gas that are much larger than what would be safe.
The video, which the Navy confirms is authentic, was shot last year on San Clemente Island off California and obtained by investigative reporter Matthew Cole, author of Code Over Country, a recent book about SEAL Team 6.
I got this video from some SEALs, students who were trying to become SEALs that felt that the instructors and the SEALs were abusive and very careless with their health.
Most military recruits have to go through a gas chamber to learn how to properly don a face mask and what happens if they don't. But the gas used on the SEAL recruits appears much thicker and lasts much longer. The rules require the instructors to stay at least 6 feet away to avoid the danger of burns and to use the gas for no more than 15 seconds. In this video, the gas lasts for more than a minute. One recruit appears to pass out.
We should not injure our recruits that really serve for us in this way. I think it doesn't make any sense in training to do this and could cause long-term.
I just don't. I'm sorry. It's so hard for me to fucking look at this and be like, man, this is really fucked up. Why do I need to hear from a bald German about what to do to my fucking Navy SEALs? Where's your goddamn military? Why don't you go back to World War II? Beef up your soldiers, huh? Pussy ass Europeans coming into my country telling me what I will do to my Navy SEALs. There's a goddamn reason. There is a goddamn reason why Navy SEALs are still #1 in baby killing, door knocking, helicopter dropping all around the planet. Do you want our special forces to look like the gay forces? I couldn't come up with anything better on that one. You want our Navy SEALs to be they, them SEALs? They are technically Navy. They are the Navy SEALs. Okay, you don't have to say Gavy, you can just say Navy.
From injury.
The video comes to light as the Navy is already investigating whether the notoriously tough selection course has become too brutal, even for an elite unit like the Navy
What?
SEALs.
It's literally, yeah, people die. What are they talking about? No shit, brother. They die. Like, people die in the selection process. You literally have to fucking, you have to drown. What the fuck? They're like, man, it's, is the Navy SEAL selection process too brutal? What? Did you wake up yesterday and find out what they're doing there? Like, I don't understand. Bro, look at this Trump dissing Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. No, not the guys that go to war. I'm talking about, like, yeah, some of them die when they go to war. Once you made it through SEAL training, I feel like the likelihood that you're going to die goes down dramatically because now you're, like, elite. So they're just sending you over to, like, compounds in faraway countries. And the only time you die is when your helicopter crashes. You know what I mean? I'm talking about, like, the actual training process or the selection process, which is super gruesome, super brutal. That part is actually unironically really insane and intense. You have to basically you have to drown. You wouldn't last 5 minutes in SEAL training, you fucking pussy. Wait, what? You're literally a fucking Twitch streamer. I mean, a Twitch stream watcher. Of course I wouldn't last 5 minutes in SEAL training. Most pointless practice literally damaged their lungs. Yeah. Hasan is so Baba. You can really tell this is his first life. His eyes are filled with wonder traversing this broken world, and we all have a responsibility to ensure he stays blissfully ignorant. Hasan, inshallah, one chance. Oh, this guy's German. Bro, Lake McGriff timed this motherfucker out. He came back immediately. He's like a German Turk. It feels like he's like a German Muslim who also believes in reincarnation. What the fuck? I mean, it's definitely an account that we already fucking yeeted. You know what I mean? Same day.
For CBS Mornings, David Martin at the Pentagon.
I know you want the recruits to be tough, but I think that's very disturbing to look at. That looks just downright abusive to me.
I mean, I'll leave it to the military community to debate what the tactics are. They know what they're preparing for.
What is extreme versus what is necessary?
I mean, you know, if I were a professor, I wouldn't be trying to judge the tactic part of it. He can talk about what the effects.
Oh my God. They're such pussies. Just say it's dumb as fuck. Just say what it is. It's hazing. And they're doing it specifically to cut out people who aren't deranged psychopaths willing to make it through that. So that it's easier for the remaining ones to like shoot a fucking baby in the face with a weapon. Okay? That's it. That's like the whole point. The whole point is like, yeah, we want baby killers. And you need to be mentally fucking insane to be able to do baby killing. And the only way we can get you to do baby killing like this is either by putting you through this process that breaks your fucking brain, or you're insane when you're coming into the fucking process. But guess what? Don't worry. You'll have a sweet book deal by the end of it, which, of course, unless you're Robert O'Neill, Mr. Booyah himself, the Navy will take all of the earnings from that because, you know, you went and you fucking wrote fake bullshit, which everyone does. Oh, obviously, there's never been a Navy SEAL that has actually told the truth. Navy SEALs that go public with their information are all liars. That's just, you know, number one. The ones that don't actually reveal whatever the fuck they did are just not talking. Or they're dead. Getting used to that gas is helpful when your free Dodge Challenger inevitably fills with smoke. That is gruesome, dude. I'm not touching that, okay? Jesus Christ. It's like, I'm trying to do it, but I can't. My lungs are too powerful. That was dark. I didn't say that. Chatter did. Is the Challenger a shitty car? No, they're. I didn't mean that. Jesus Christ, lol. I meant it's a bad car. Oh. That's a lie, by the way. The chatter absolutely meant that. All right, let's continue.
Are on the body, and clearly they're extensive. You can see from the video, but it's just hard for us sitting here to talk about what's necessary and not.
Yeah, it really is. It's difficult.
I don't think it's hard. I'm looking at it, and I just think that was very disturbing to look at.
But you want, I mean,
I want well-trained people. I do. I do.
You know,
yeah, and listen, I'm not saying.
I want well-trained people. The only way to do it is by fucking gassing them. Okay, you don't understand. Is the brain damage from this why like 17 guys think they're the ones who killed bin Laden? Well, that and capitalism. The reason why all 17 people think that they fucking killed bin Laden personally is because they all want to write books saying that they killed bin Laden so they can make money and then make movies about killing bin Laden. And also because they're fucking brain dead. Weird that this video has zero mention of cops using tear gas on protesters. Yeah. A Dodge Challenger we fixed in my shop had 2 axes wrapped in a super dirty bed sheet in the trunk. The car needed a new battery, and that's under the trunk lining in Challenger, so I had to move the axes. Pretty sure my fingerprints are on a murder weapon now. Jesus Christ, chatter. What? You gotta watch this guy somehow. I found him when he was at 40 subs, and his videos should have millions of views instead of hundreds. If not today, maybe soon. The Village at the End of the World, AZ. What is this? Follow the stony steel gray Guadalche River upstream out of Drab, Cuba, and into the mountains. The buildings become sparser and the mountains loom higher. This was a dirt track until it was sealed for a residential visit in 2006. Follow it until the road runs out. There lies a village of Kinalug, and the speakers of its eponymous language isolate. The colossal glowing south wall of Mount Shahdag presides over it as a witness of the ancient rhythms of life in this lonely outpost where? Okay, we'll look at it later. I trust MHUD on this stuff. Anyway, I love the media is like, oh man, well maybe they should get gassed a little bit. I think it's a perfectly stupid fucking way to do it. I don't really care if it actually helps them or whatever. I personally think it's dumb as fuck. I also don't think that Navy SEALs should exist. You know, what else? What else should I say that'll piss off all the fucking liberals and the Republicans alike? I think that the entirety of the military should be operating like a civilian engineers corps. What else? Marines are stupid and eat crayons. Navy SEALs are baby killers and suck. And liars, notorious liars. And also, the American government should actually help out all the veterans that they claim that they were going to when, you know, they're running around and coming back home and their brains are fucking irreparably fucked up. What's up? How's the Turkish army? I don't fucking know. Probably not great. Okay.
And you have to break somebody, but I think you have to test their limits.
How did they post their training and anyone thought it was safe ever? Yeah, I don't understand. Why is this news? What is happening right now? Okay. This teacher lost her job after starting an OnlyFans?
The economy tonight and gas prices now at an all-time high in this country.
Inflation is taking a big bite out of Americans' everyday budgets.
People are also paying more for food, clothing, and furniture.
With inflation hitting records, some workers are taking up 2 or more jobs to make ends meet. Some are selling and posting their photos and videos on online platforms as a way to supplement their income. But now there's a
U.S. plans to ease Venezuela's sanctions on enabling Chevron to pump oil. Interesting. Where's that fucking... That's crazy. Hold on 1 second. Listen. Let me just tell you, okay? What you gotta do is turn your motherfucking enemies to your biggest motherfucking clients, baby. That's right. Sigma grind set. What's going on? What's happening? Oh, y'all need oil? Guess what? We got it. ABC. Always be closing. What happened? You came back. They always do. Make your biggest haters your biggest customers. Hashtag Sigma Mindset. Hashtag masculinity. Hashtag daily grind. Hashtag Sigma grind set. Right, that was what I was looking for. Yeah. Get him hooked. Get him hooked. Get him fucking hooked on that sweet earth cum. That sweet, delicious juice of the earth. Just like I get you hooked on the top of the hour ad break. That's right. Because at the top of the hour, all my fucking haters become my biggest customers. Where they purchase a $5 a month sub or a free one with a Twitch Prime. That's right, Twitch Prime is fucking free. And you can use that free Twitch Prime right here, right now. In an effort to no longer see the ads and have an ad-free broadcasting experience. All you need to do, baby. Or maybe if you're lucky, you can just get a gifted sub. But not many are. So you should probably make your own luck. Here's the woman ad break now. Dandy DM, thank you for the 5 get the subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads. Yeah, I posted that fucking Maduro meme. That's right. I did it. I fucking did it. Wait, what did the top of the hour bot get? That motherfucker looks like your dad? He could be. Maduro does look very Turkish. Oh my God, Logan Paul.
Bunny.
Exclusive. Logan Paul accused Bad Bunny of exploiting Puerto Rico. Claims Bad Bunny is privately using the same tax program he's publicly condemning. No fucking way. That will actually hurt my soul if that's the case. No. No. 167 chatters rated the Segway 6.58. Today's best. Nice one, Hasi. Let's go. Maduro means ripe in Spanish. Homeboy looks Maduro for sure.
Bad Bunny is a Puerto Rican living in Puerto Rico who is privately taking advantage of the same tax program that he is publicly condemning.
Is that true?
And I know this, and I see things like this, and it hurts. And some there are local Puerto Ricans who know about this. So I see this music video that has stuck me in the middle of it, that surrounded by context that makes me look like a vulture in Puerto Rico. And again, while I love Bad Bunny, I cannot personally support the hypocritical nature of his exploitation.
Wow. I don't understand. Like, isn't he just basically saying like, oh, Bad Bunny is taking advantage of a tax loophole created for Puerto Ricans as a Puerto Rican, and I Puerto Ricans are American too, but like Puerto Ricans don't get representation. And Logan Paul's like, but I, as an American who did not live in Puerto Rico before, went there on my own. Not that it's like appropriate for him to use it either, in my opinion. But doesn't that mean both of you guys are bad? But also, actually, I'm not even sure. I thought the tax loophole was for foreign investment. Like, even if both of them are doing it, and that is bad, what Logan is saying doesn't change the reality that he's doing it and it's bad. Like, what the fuck? Foreign Puerto Ricans are Americans, foreign's all. No, I meant like fucking PR residents. Like non-Puerto Rican residents. I don't understand how these people are real, dude. You're reaching and then God. And then you move to Puerto Rico to save on capital gains and other taxes. How much wealth is enough? It's Act 22. The Individual Investors Act, Act 22, seeks to attract new residents of Puerto Rico by providing a total exemption from Puerto Rico's income taxes on all passive income realized and accrued after such individuals become bona fide residents of Puerto Rico. This sound? Take a second off. I know Bad Bunny called Logan Paul out. He made an entire fucking video about gentrification in Puerto Rico and how Act 22 has played a role in the gentrification of Puerto Rico's, the gentrification of Puerto Rico, and how it has ruined the lives of Puerto Rican natives. And there's many issues within Puerto Rico. And he wants to change that, right? As a Puerto Rican, he wants to change that. But, sounds so kind today. 1 second. Usually a permanent. No, I've been doing a lot of 1 second ones because I think it's funny. I don't know. I need additional context.
Bad Bunny is a Puerto Rican living in Puerto Rico who is privately taking advantage of the same tax program that he is publicly condemning.
Is that true?
And I know this, and I see things like this, and it hurts. And
you need a pair of Estes. And then today I want to revisit the situation in Puerto Rico and talk about Act 22. Last week we talked about it, as well as Bad Bunny's music video raising awareness about it. It's the former name of a tax program that encourages high-earning individual investors to move to Puerto Rico, where, in return for moving to the island, these individuals get to dodge most federal taxes, especially things like capital gains and short-term gains, which directly affect the way most rich people make their money. Also, so there's no confusion, I say former name because Act 22 and other related acts all had their names changed in 2020, but I'll also continue calling them by their old names because everyone else does. And its proponents and the government claim that it'll bring people with capital to the island to stimulate the economy and take advantage of other tax programs like